Good afternoon, Greg.
Hello there. You all
How
right,
are
Graham?
you today?
I'm good, thank you. After my little meltdown last Wednesday, when I suddenly thought I'd missed the whole thing, I still had the original date that you sent out in my diary, even though I had said to you I couldn't really do it that day. So
right.
yeah, they do. So no, it's fine now. It's fine now. I'm feeling much more relaxed and ready to
Right.
go this week.
Good. I regret we've had a couple of regrets from people.
Oh dear.
Michelle South from BHIB, who was very keen to hear what you had to say, has had to go into hospital.
Oh no.
So she found time to sort of write to me on her way in saying, I'm not going to make it. And then John Carter from Pitney has had to go dashing off to get a signature in his car. He said something happened at the other end as far as doing it by electronics were concerned, so he's had to go roaring off. So apologies for that.
Yeah, well, these things do happen.
Indeed. Let me just go back. I was looking to see how many we're going to get today.
Yeah.
Although I find that it's the number of registrations is not a very good guide to how many people are going to come.
Right. And are you getting many to your little sessions on a Friday?
I am actually getting a steady 2 or 3 each time, which is a good number because you can sort of answer all of the questions.
Yes, you've got enough time to cover it in detail. That sounds good.
Yeah. No, I've enjoyed those. They're so far I've yet to come across a question I couldn't answer. I'm horrified by the thought that it's going to happen.
Yeah, because
how do I do this? And I'll have to say I haven't got the slightest idea.
Yeah, I saw it because of course they've got that new feature that they've just added about being able to insert the maps into your own website. I haven't yet tried that, but I thought, well, I'll.
Has that come along to you?
I don't know. Well, I had an email telling me that it was available.
Oh, right. In that case, I'm sure it has. No, I've done that. It's fabulous. Public maps, they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really like that. And I'm going to tell you all about a new feature today called National Layer. Which is a layer in which everybody in the country can see what you've done with respect to information that is publicly useful to everybody.
Yeah.
And the first one they're starting with is allotments, purely
good.
The fact you've got one.
Yeah.
And it will merge in due course, hasn't happened yet, but it's going to merge with the National Allotment Society's database and the wonderfully named MHCLG, which I think is the Minister of Housing, and then I've got no idea what CLG stands for.
Communities and Local Government.
Hey, well done. Thank you. Well, I'm much the wiser already.
There you go. But, I don't appear to have the export layer option yet. Obviously.
Oh, the public map one?
Yeah.
It's under administration. You have to go up in settings.
Ah, right. Okay. Oh, yes, there it is. Public maps.
Good.
Oh, yeah. You see, that's why I needed to come to one of your.
I think it's fabulously useful. I really like that one.
Yeah. So, no, because I can see that, apart from exporting our allotments, we've got a couple of schemes that it would be good just to be able for people to partake of by sharing it on our website and not just
great. Well, let me just say hello to Richard and
Natalie, carry on,
because they've arrived. Good day to you both.
Hello.
See, Natalie's waved her hand, so she's obviously all right. Richard is muted at the moment. There we go.
Yes, I'm fine, thank you, Graham.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to you. How's Stoddart today?
I don't know because I don't live in the parish. It's a bit damp at Cannington, though.
All right. Okay. Well, I hadn't realised that you were far, far away.
Oh, not that far away. Only about 4 miles.
Far enough so the parishioners don't come banging on your door.
Oh, they do. Oh, they do. And they've got my phone number.
Ah, yeah. Well, no, phone number and email. That's fine.
So has it been raining with you, Natalie?
Yes, raining most of the day.
Your garden is delighted.
It is breathing a big sigh of relief.
Yeah.
I've been trying to persuade people that they see me drinking from a great big coffee cup, and therefore they
Yeah.
assume it's coffee.
Yeah. Well, if you just hold it closer to the camera, it looks really big. Now, I clerk a few governing body meetings, and I was at one last Monday, and there was a definite gin and tonic going on. There was a slice and everything in this glass that kept appearing, and I thought, oh yeah, trying to claim it was just lemon water is never going
And
to
what
work.
time of the day was that?
Or 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Oh, that's
and
reasonable, isn't it?
yeah, and the chair had obviously pre-programmed her husband. He appeared at exactly 7 o'clock with a glass of red wine. It was obviously to let everybody know it was time to finish.
Graham, if you ask Chris Ford how the weather is, he'll tell you what Stigers is like today.
Okay. I
Right.
haven't seen him come on yet. I don't see anybody.
He's down the bottom. He's down the bottom.
With
Down
us.
the bottom, right?
He is on my screen. Everybody appears in different places, so it never works when you.
Chris, good afternoon to you. And how is the weather?
Grey. I think that's about all you can say for it.
Right. Well, because you're looking out all over the Bristol Channel from where you are.
I'm looking where?
Are you looking out over the Channel?
Well, from upstairs we can look out over the channel. We're about a mile from the coast. We between us and the channel, we've got Hinkley Point nuclear power stations.
Well, of course, that's a mass of cranes now, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah. There's this huge one that they call Carl that sort of looms over all the rest. Apparently, it's the biggest crane in the world, and it can lift 5,000 tons.
One crane is 5,000 tons. Golly,
That's sort of picking up well, I think of it in terms of ships, because when I was a kid, they were the things that they measured in tons mainly. Single tons for coal deliveries, but hundreds or thousands of tons for ships. And
yeah, makes sense.
5,000 would have been an old-fashioned destroyer. You'd have picked up 2 of them.
Well, it's even a pretty modern destroyer, 5,000 tons.
Yeah. Modern destroyers are far bigger.
I was reading an article in a magazine today about the increasingly close ties between Japan and Britain. I think because Britain is so keen to find people that will talk to it after Brexit. And so there's a lot of cooperation in the intelligence world and in the military world. And apparently there have been more British warship visits to Japan in the last year than there have been in the previous 20. Really trying to make a point.
Yeah. Well, my brother was in the Navy for 40 years. And Royal Navy, that is. I don't think he ever visited Japan.
But went most other places?
Well, he not latterly, because he spent quite a bit of time on shore in Plymouth towards the end, and before that he had a very long spell on Polaris submarines. And they don't visit anywhere much at all, apart from.
Well, they do. They get a great trip to Florida once every 5 years.
Yeah. He's done a few of those actually. He was the youngest chief petty officer in the Royal Navy for quite a few years.
Right. Which branch was he in?
Engineering.
Right.
But then he retired as a lieutenant commander. So, but he was mainly in the admin then.
Right. So he was sort of special duties type guy.
Yeah. Well, he was administrative. I mean, he he was number 2 at Raleigh, which is the largest establishment in the Navy. It's their central training establishment down in it's Tor Point, actually, side of the other side from Plymouth.
Yeah.
And then he was in the dockyard on security duties mainly. But I've just had a cataract operation. There's no glass in that side, and it was his daughter actually is the came down to see me when I went for the operation, because she's the clinical director of the Bristol Eye Hospital, so I got good treatment.
Right, good. Well, let me just say good afternoon to Andrew and to Chris Edwards.
Hello.
Andrew, you were on earlier for a test call. I nearly sort of called you up and said hi, but you disappeared at the time I went in. But nice to see you. Chris, good to see you too.
Hello.
I'm not sure if we're going to get any others, because as I was telling Greg, we've had 2 people had to call off because exterior forces. So let me make a formal start. Good afternoon to you all. I don't think there's any need to introduce people to each other. You all know each other, don't you? Anyone who's not known? A mystery person? No. So I'll be moving on quite quickly to Greg's presentation, which is what I hope we're all here for. But I do have a couple of pieces of news for you. One is brand new, it's at least 33 minutes old, and that is that there's a new layer in Parish Online, which is called the National Layer, and there's only one entry in it at the moment, which is allotment site boundaries. But basically, this is the first one of what they hope will be a whole series of layers that are visible to everybody nationally. So the national layer, you want to be a bit careful what you put in there, because it can be seen nationwide. But the idea is that in due course, it'll be a way of conversing with government all the way up to, central Whitehall levels on things like they're interested in. And one of them is allotments, apparently. The Ministry of Housing and Community Local Government, I hope you're very impressed with the way that just rolls off my tongue, Greg. But they apparently have no idea where the country's allotments are. And so they're asking, or we're hoping to help them by getting local parishes to fill in their allotments under the national layer. So I'm told by Geosphere that will be visible to you all right now. So those of you who've got the skills or the machinery to do 2 things at once, you can take a look under national layer and see the allotment sites. And I'd be delighted if all of you felt you could add to that layer, noting that you don't have to do it for your site. If you happen to know what the parish next door has got in the way of allotments, you can go ahead and fill it in for them, because this is being national, you can fill in everything. So if your best friend lives up in Glasgow and he's got an allotment, now is your chance. So I raised that. The second point came up just from a local fundraising drive in Long Sutton, and I thought I'd pass it on in case it's of use to any other parish. But the church here has its electricity supplied by Utility Warehouse. And Utility Warehouse has a feature called a cashback card, whereby whenever you buy money, it's just a regular Visa card, but when you spend it on anything, the cashback is given to the utility of the owner of the account. So in our case, the owner of the account is the local church. And basically, if we persuade a few parishioners to do their purchasing of their everyday groceries and so forth on this card, then the cashback goes towards reducing the church's utility costs, which is a sort of almost invisible and certainly unnoticeable way of contributing to your church's funding, which seems to be a major issue for many nowadays. So I just thought I'd mention that in passing, that if you are looking to find a competitive supplier for your church and the utility warehouse fits the bill, then 3 or 4 parishioners, if they put their credit card spending on these cards, then you can pay for the entire year for the church for its utilities, which I think is appealing in a way. So that said, I don't have any other items for the agenda yet. If you're all set, Greg, I'd like to pass control to you, and we'll go ahead from there.
Okay, yep.
So, Mr. Greg Moore, make host. So you should get an invitation.
Right.
Have you become the host?
I can't see. Where am I going to get?
Oh, well, according to me, you are the host, so you should be able to share screen and just go from there. Or
I am
maybe-
indeed. I've got the share screen button, so I will go to share screen and share. So hopefully you're all seeing a map now.
And I've done a wonderful job of introducing you, Greg, so everyone knows who you are and what you
I will do that myself. Right. My name is Greg Jones, and I am on Compton Dundon Parish Council, which hopefully you can see in the middle of your screens there. We're just south of Street, north of Somerton on the main road through our village. That certainly cuts part of it in half. I have been a parish councillor for too long. I think since there you go, there's a start, 1995. I have been the chair of the parish council for 20 years until 2 years ago I managed to convince somebody else they ought to do it. And since then, in the last 6-9 months, we've been using Parish Online at our parish council meetings. And the way it works is that I drive the Parish Online from my computer. So I'm going to show you what I do during the meeting. Obviously, there is a separate chair and clerk who are performing their functions. So they are, Steve is chairing the meeting and Helen is clerking the meeting. And I follow the business and drive the Parish Online around. Now, why we do this is because at our meetings, we quite often reach the point where somebody goes, I don't know where that is. And you usually find, of course, that this is the oldest member of the parish council who's been on there a long time, not the person who's just recently joined. They also are the person who only knows somebody who's lived in a house 20 years ago rather than who lives there currently. So you have to translate for them. But so we found that by using Parish Online, and we usually have a, sorry, let's get this. We usually have an aerial set because obviously a picture is better than a map for a lot of people. And so we would start work from our agenda. So there's a copy of our agenda just coming up, and you can see, like everybody else, we start with public participation. So this is the agenda for our meeting in September, and I'm pretty much going to follow what happened during that meeting. So the first thing we had was public participation, and we had a letter from a lady about this road junction that I'm zooming in on here, who basically said lorries are, let's just let Parish Online catch up, there we go, lorries are turning into the junction, they're reaching the other end, which you can see is here, and then they can't get out because they can't turn left or right because it's too narrow. So a few years ago we had a sign installed that said lorries, you shouldn't turn here, but it keeps getting knocked into the hedge by the farmer. So we discussed putting in a new sign opposite the junction to say, so it was visible from both directions and it was less likely to get knocked in. So first thing I had to do, we've done that, we had the discussion, and then we produced a little map. So we added in annotation, new road sign, and then I exported it to a map. So I just went to print, said I wanted a 2,500 map, said print, and then of course I've then got a PDF file, there it is, which I can then email to the clerk, and they can then send that to highways and say, right, okay, we would like a road sign here, please. And we would describe the details we need. Now, obviously, at the moment, we haven't heard anything back from highways about this sign and how much they think they're going to charge us for it. But that was our, that was just the power of Parish Online, straight into the meeting. That's done now. That map is done. The clerk's got the information they need, and off we go. So the next thing on our agendas is planning. Oops, let's just get rid of the annotation. You'll see there's some more annotation appearing on the screen over there, and I'll come to that later. So in our parish layers, we have added a layer for planning applications, and we had a planning application. I'll zoom in on this one here. I've got lots of layers coming up in annotation that I really want to get rid of. I can't do that. Let's come this way a bit and zoom in. So this is the planning. We only had one planning application, and it was our former school, and they wanted to erect some new outside classrooms. So what we do each time we have an application is we add it to our planning layer so that we can see where they are. And when we're discussing it again, everybody knows where the site is, which is always an important one. And also, one of the things that we do is we produce a little summary document. So when I select that item, at the bottom is an attachment. Here it is. So I can pull that up and show you that attachment. And let's open it up. So it's a little summary document that has a screenshot from Parish Online. It has a copy of the sort of outline location plan where they wanted to put these extra buildings, and a brief summary. Now, this is a very neutral document. It's not trying to lead the parish councillors in any one direction or another about that. It's just literally a summary of the application. And the key thing here is that this bit of information has just been copied directly from the emails that we get from South Somerset District Council. So that and this document is sent round to councillors, well before the meeting. But if they need, it's got the link to South Somerset District Council's website with that planning application in it, so that they can then go in and review all the documents, and they haven't got to go searching for it. They can instantly get onto the website, and there are all the documents for that for that particular application, and probably includes our comments by now, I'd hope. Oh yeah, there we go, Consultee Parish Council. So that's how we handle planning. And if we've got several applications, obviously we would drive around. As you can see, there was some other applications just further north. There we are. So, and all I've done is created a layer, and the only piece of text in the layer is the application number, just so that we know what the number is if we want to review it. And then attached to each one, so if I picked up this one, you'll see again there's an attachment to the bottom. So that takes us through our planning. Now, sometimes we get consultations and other things like that. So we quite often are just driving around. Somebody says, well, we're thinking about building some houses. And sorry, I've got to wait for it to catch up. So we've had a consultation recently on this particular field here. So again, when the consultation is being presented, we would drive to that location. Everybody knows where we're talking about, because that's the key reason for using Parish Online to do these. Right. The next thing that we usually discuss on our business is highways. So again, on highways, we are looking at various issues. Usually people always like to tell the parish councillor there's a pothole. They don't like to actually sort it out for themselves, despite our best efforts to encourage them to use Fix My Street, which is a great tool. If you've come across that, I'm quite often wandering around the village, get your phone out, and very quickly you can take a photo, report it against that location, and it gets sent through to highways, and they're very quick at responding. So quite often again, somebody said, oh, there's a pothole at such and such a location outside such and such a house, and you're driving around making sure we all know where it is, and then somebody from the parish council very kindly goes along and takes a photo of it. Just excuse me a second, because I managed to close the agenda, which is a good thing to do, and I wanted to make sure that I'm actually in the right direct place.
Greg,
Yeah.
sorry, I had a question about your planning. Do you, once it's been granted, do you change it from, say, red into green, or do you just leave them all the same colour?
We haven't got that far yet, Richard. That's a very good point. I'm not quite sure how I would do that, because, of course, that we would have to move the layer to change the colour, I think.
Isn't it just a style thing?
Yeah, it's the style on the layer, but I'd have to change. I'd have to have a layer for planning approved, because, yeah. Graham, I'll come to one of your clinics on Friday and we can discuss that. How we get something from one layer to another layer.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So we've done our planning. Yeah.
Greg, can I ask, how do you share this with the council? Do you put it up on a screen or?
Well, at the moment, because we're meeting online, I'm actually sharing it the same way as I'm sharing it with you guys now.
Okay.
Okay. We have, and it was a project that we started just before lockdown, installed a projector and screen in our meeting room at the village hall. And we've got all that set up, ready to use when we can go back to our village hall. We have still got a problem, though, in that we haven't, apparently you can't get webcams for love nor money at the moment, because everybody's buying them. Right. So we're still trying to sort out our webcam. We've got speakers, we've got everything else, and we just need to mount a webcam on top of just above the projection screen so that everybody can see us. Because part of the regulations for parish councils is that we've got to be able to allow people to access our meetings virtually until March next year at the moment. But I suspect that will get extended.
Now, the reason I ask is because we're about to take delivery of our new village hall, and I was going to put a sort of
I'm in a meeting, so
I was going to put a 6-foot television in the meeting room, on the back wall, so that people can, we can put stuff on there, but using Wi-Fi, direct to the TV.
We've done that, Richard. In Long Sutton, we've done that, and it works a treat.
Yeah, right. Okay, thank you.
It's brilliant. So we actually linked to ours with an HDMI cable just because it seemed to be easier. But
you've got it's interesting because with our using Wi-Fi, you get quite a lag on the internet, whereas if you use HDMI, you get a better speed. But we've chosen the route of putting in we've put basically the screen, and then there's an HDMI socket on the wall, so all the users can just come in and plug into it and use the screen rather than a TV screen. But we could have gone down the TV screen route, but we haven't.
I mean, we probably use HDMI actually.
We've also got an acute Wi-Fi set up to the projector so that you can actually connect to it via Wi-Fi. It's okay. We tested it the other day. I went down there with the guy who installed it, and it was fine for like our meeting data, but you can't show videos on it. You have to connect directly to show videos because they use it to it. But anyway, that's a technical issue. So back to my agenda, which I've now got the right place. So as you can see, we talked about the white paper for the future of planning, and we had another location where we've got a planning enforcement issue, which is just up the road here, where somebody has this location here where they've got planning for they've built a house at the back, which is lovely. They had planning for a triple garage, which is currently a hairdressing salon, and so we're just waiting to see how the district council respond to that. they've written to them saying they're in breach of their planning, but that's about as far as it's gone. And we're waiting to see what happens. The main issue is the access, because the access is very narrow, straight out onto the main road. And I'm sure those of you who know the B3151 know that it can be quite an accident black spot. So, and then we have our reports from our county council, district council. We drive around, again, if there's anything particular there, rights of way. So the rights of way report would come up. So back to Parish Online, we go to and I've got to remember the SCC countryside, and there are the public rights of way. So we can superimpose those. And then we everybody knows what issues have gone on with the public rights of way, and we're all talking about the same style in the same place, which works very well. And do you know what I've done? I've closed that bloody agenda again. I'm not doing very well on that. I keep closing it instead of minimizing it. Right. And then, and then we got on to our, if I put that over there out of the way, you won't see it. We get on to sort of our general discussions. So we looked at correspondence. Yes. So we are looking at sites for potential garden allotments, because currently our allotments, and again, we've got a layer, not in our national layer yet, but we have got a parish layer for allotments, and our allotments are, here they are half-acre allotments. So they are not domestic allotments, they are half-acre allotments, and they are rented to or have got anybody in the village. They were first purchased in the 1940s, and the idea was they were for labourers on farms to have their own bit of land to grow their own cash crop. And now they are mostly owned by farmers who just make a few bales of something on them. But there are a few people who grow spuds and things on them. So we're currently having a project to try and find a site for some domestic allotments. And our plan ideally would be to exchange some of the land that we've got for these big allotments. But we are struggling with that, primarily because the councillors can't agree about how it should work. Not that most of the allotment holders seem quite happy, but the councillors can't agree. So anyway, we've discussed our allotments. We can see that, and again, we can drive around and look at pieces of land if we're thinking about it. So if somebody says, "Oh, so and so's got a bit of land for sale," we can see where that was.
May I jump in, Greg?
Sorry?
May I just jump in? So for the national layer that Geosphere has just introduced for allotments, you could bring that up at the same time as you had this layer on, and then all they want is the outline of the allotment boundaries, not the individual fields themselves. So you could just whiz around that with your cursor, and bang, you're done.
That's right. Yeah, no, I realise that, because that's something that I haven't yet done, but I've also got to add it. This is where you end up with it duplicated, because I've got to add it to our asset register for land ownership, and I haven't done that yet.
Right. Yes, agreed.
Yeah, but if it's in one layer, then you should be copying it to another layer would be a good.
Yes, well, I think I forgot to say that all they're interested in is the outline boundary, not the individual lots.
Yeah, no, I realise that, but but this is very handy, because of course we produce a map again of all the individual ones. So when we're reviewing the allotment holders and who hasn't paid their rent, which is always an exciting one. And then we went down. This month we had to agree the location of the external hand sanitizers. So at our village hall, which is here. We have got some play equipment. So I now need to go into the asset register layer. And if I test my skills, I think it's outdoor property. No, it's not that. There must be a separate one. Oh, there, play areas. No. Who can remind me which layer you'd have your play equipment in? Oh, there it is, playground equipment. That's the right layer. There it is. So we've got some playground equipment. So again, that's all been inserted, or mostly inserted, and we were just trying to sort out. We've put up some hand sanitizer for the public at that location. So again, we bashed around and decided that we'd got one at this end, and we needed another one at the other entrance down at this end so that they wouldn't miss it either way in. And we also had an item about, we'd had our ROSPA play safety report. So there's some action required on certain items. So again, we could just look at those items and we talked about it. Now, what is, oh yes, and then we had a, see, there's a lot of just dragging around, I think is, you know, because the next item takes us back across the village pretty much to where we were before. But this is, you know, it's just, it's very easy to do. It might be a bit slower at your end because, of course, obviously you're waiting for the screens to catch up, but we're back to, and I'm sure those of you who've driven through Compton Dundon will be very much aware of our houses that have been built and sat there for about the last 15 years. In fact, you know, they've even made it onto the Ordnance Survey map. They were built without planning about 15 years ago, and then planning was subsequently awarded, but the builder went bust. The guy who owns the site has then spent the last 12 years umming and ahhing about it, and he's finally sold it. So we had an item about, because these houses are being marketed, but some of them are affordable houses for local people. So we just wanted to remind him that these are affordable houses, some of the plots, and that if he starts selling them, he's got to do some. They're for shared ownership at 60% of the commercial value. So then we moved on to our ongoing projects, which is always it's usually it always appears to be sort of the item at the end of the agenda, but it actually is quite a long item. And the first item was our speed indicator devices. So we go back up into our parish layers. We've got our speed indicator device locations. So we are in the process of purchasing a speed indicator device, but we have had to agree with the county council the potential sites. So this layer just shows all our sites. So again, we used it to make a map to send to the county council to say that this is where we're thinking of putting them. And each one, some of them require a new post, some of them are existing posts, things like that. And then we had a couple of items about tree planting and things. And then we went on to it. We've got a proposed bridleway, which requires me to go back to the allotments, because one of the things we've got, and if I turn the allotment layer off, you'll see better there's a question, Graham. Yeah, there we go, it's turned it off. I was going to ask how, sometimes when I try and click on a layer to turn it off, all I can do is make it invisible. But we've got a situation where we've got a bridleway that stops on the main road, and then the horses have to come down the main road to get into this lane. So what we proposed to do was to create a permissive right of way. There we go. That connects with that and runs across our allotment land. So it kinks because it runs down the edge of two allotments. And we are just negotiating with those various allotment holders to give up, you know, 15 feet at the end of their allotment, or this particular one, a strip between the two. And then we're going to, that will fall part of our tree planting project as well. So we can look at that. We know where we're talking about it, and whenever, you know, at some point we'll get that, you know, it'll move on into the future, and we'll actually get that planted up and everything. So then we had, again, we talked about allotments. Then we talked about new notice boards, which again is, we've got several notice boards around the parish, and we needed to, have I gone the wrong way? Need to come this way. And we've just purchased a new one. The longest part of the discussion on notice boards was about whether or not we would have real wood or recycled wood. And in the end, we decided we'd have recycled wood. So it's plastic basically, but it's recycled. And we were going to replace the notice board at this location. So again, everybody was quite clear where we were doing that particular piece of work. And although we've got the notice board now, it's been delivered, and the next job is to actually put it up on the wall. So those are the parish things just relating to a single meeting. And as you can see, there's a bit of driving about, a bit of zooming in and out. But one of the other things that we use Parish Online to do, and that's why you saw there was a whole bunch of annotation up here, which I will get back to, is that we helped the cricket club, who, when they wanted to start playing again, had to sort out their COVID secure arrangements to play. So I'll just zoom in a bit more. What I did on Parish Online for them, which is pretty much, Graham, what you did for your community shop, and I think that's where I got the idea, was that we drew up a map, a plan that said, okay, well, this is what's happening. Here's the pavilion. Obviously, that's closed. There's the toilets. This is where the home team will sit. This is where the away team will sit. They'll have a gazebo. And we produced that plan, and then we were able to relate that to our visiting teams so that they knew where the entrance was and everything like that. So again, that was just using the print function. And I think that, you know, the print function probably gets used quite a lot locally. I mean, one of the other schemes that we didn't talk about then, but we are a project that we've got ongoing, is about we're looking at a cycle path. So this is part of the sort of the green deal that the government are talking. And again, it's not very safe to use the main road through our village for cyclists. So we're looking at trying to link up some rights of way and turn them into a cycle path, which will run from the north of the village right through. And you can see the layer here, and it will run on down and come out on the highway again in Somerton below us. So we've got an overall map, and what we're starting to do, our next step is to do detailed bits, because we've got to look at the land ownership and drive that project forward by approaching landowners and saying, well, look, are you willing to allow us to upgrade your right of way? God knows how much it's going to cost, but we haven't got that far yet. So yeah, that's it. That's how we use Parish Online through a parish council meeting. Obviously, sometimes we dip in and out of it, so it's not always displayed permanently on the screen. Obviously, I've gone through and just used it on the highlights where we're using it, because occasionally the parish councillors do like to see each other. Otherwise, it's a bit like this meeting. Obviously, I'm sharing my screen. We're only seeing each other down the side, and of course it then rotates around depending on who's speaking. So that's me. Has anybody got any more questions?
I've got one. Greg, please.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to swear, but is there an opportunity to link with the Google Street View for some of these locations, like your road sign, you know, to give a view of the junction? Might be slightly out of date, but it might be up to date, of course.
Yeah, well, again, I think, well, that would just be me having, because I'm just sharing my whole screen rather than just that particular window. I would then be driving to Google and go into Google Maps. There we are. Hopefully it will center on where I am. Yeah, it knows where I am. And then I can zoom in. I suppose, yeah. I mean, what I would be looking to do there is, and then I've got to remember how to do Street View. There we are. Drag the little man to there. Perfect. And that's absolutely nowhere near where I intended to go. Excellent.
Got a fine view of a notice board by the look of it.
That's right. Another, yeah, that's the old notice board. We've got Street View's out of date. We've got a lovely bus stop shelter there now, and the phone box is gone because obviously BT in its infinite wisdom took away our lovely red phone box, gave us a glass one, and then of course took the phone away.
That's why I said if it's up to date. Of course, that one's 2016, so it is slightly out of date. But it is something, and I take your point about the planning. But is that something, another link that could be put onto that summary, so it would give an opportunity?
It would be. I mean, the summary. If we've got photos, then we would share photos in the summary. But a lot of the time, we haven't, or they are separate. I mean, sometimes I've literally just got them on my computer, so I would share photos. In fact, if I have a look, because I know that in the past, I've got a little page. I've got a little folder with all the planning in for the parish council. So, but again, it's about having the willingness and having a person who is prepared to do this. So let's have a look. I think
But I do think that's a great idea for using the photograph from Google Maps, and you could just add it as an attachment for that particular
Yeah.
application, couldn't you?
Yeah, if you can catch it, if you can capture it, then it's fine.
You can obviously do a print screen, so alt print screen and
Away you go. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you
Yeah.
for that one.
There is on I don't know if everybody's using Windows, there's a little tool that comes by default called snipping tool, which you can plonk up on the screen, and you just say I want a new snip, and you can literally drag a square.
Oh, that's even better. Oh, well done.
Yeah, there you go. Write that one down, everybody. Snipping tool. Yeah.
Yeah, can I just break in briefly?
Yeah.
I drove a Mac, and it's similar thing called a screenshot.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, because you can do a print screen, but then you have to paste it. Whereas snipping tool, you just create your snip. So that's literally how I get the bit of map to go into the planning summary, and then I can just save it as a, or I don't even need to save it. I can just copy it and then paste it straight into the document.
Yeah, screenshot. You can do a similar thing. You can have a
Good.
small part of the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. So yeah, there we are. So those things work like that. Anybody, anything else? Oh, I've got a screen full of it. Yes, it's how the parish council meeting ends up with a screen full of bits of everything we've looked at. I think-
Greg, it's Chris here.
Mhm.
Does the parish actually own all of those allotments that you showed us earlier?
Yes, they do.
And you're seeking to maybe purchase land from farmers to
Yeah.
increase the number of allotments?
Yeah, the problem with those allotments is they're quite remote from the village. They are, in fact, if I put the layer back on, you'll see. You have to drive to them.
Yes.
They've got no water.
Ah,
So we have tried in the past to sublet one allotment to like 3 or 4 people to use as domestic allotments,
Yeah.
but their problem was there was no water.
ah,
And we
yes.
would like we've had a chance to buy the old school playing field, but the county wouldn't sell it to us. They'd only lease it to us. And then we decided the problem was access was only through the old school. So it was going to be very expensive, and we decided not to. But we would, the idea is if we could sell some of these, we could use the money to buy a bit of land elsewhere.
Yes.
Because ideally we need to provide water, and we need to provide parking. There's quite an investment to make on that land. And worst case is that we may well end up doing it at this where we already own it, because we're waiting. We're at the point now where we're consulting with solicitors, and we've got to get clarification from the Secretary of State to the exact status of our allotments, because they may be small holdings.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Greg, I really liked on your planning application, your summary document, where you made the title a hyperlink to the page on the SSDC bit.
Yeah, and that was literally just cutting and pasting from the email that comes from the county council. Let me just see if I can find one and show you. Because now it's always the way, when you want one, you can't find one. Hang on, so South Somerset send out, we're subscribed for their update. So if there is a new application that comes out in our parish, we get a little email that says, and in that email it has the link, and it obviously doesn't come through like that. Let's just, I'll find one in a second and show you. So that link is cut straight out of that email rather than recreating it.
Yeah, I just thought that was fabulously useful. A great idea. I like that.
Yeah, no, it is, because this was always the issue. Now that we're not at the hall, people haven't, they've got to see the plan. They've got to be able to review the plans. Here we go, public access, save search. So here is the email that comes from the district council. There is the link, and there is the brief description. So it's literally just, cut and paste straight out, and it takes the link across.
And that's a similar sort of email that we get now from the county for roadworks and closures, and that's all linked. Presumably that could be used in the same way.
We could if we.
And then The other bit that I saw that I hadn't spotted before, if you scroll down your layers a bit, there was one
Yeah.
from the Somerset County Council.
Yeah, and that was the rights of way layer.
Right. So did you subscribe to that, or was
No.
that in everyone's copy of?
Yeah, I think it's in everyone. It should be in everyone's. We
Oh,
haven't
I
done
missed-
anything special. It's just below the national layers one that you talked about.
Yes, I know. I should have spotted it, but I completely missed it. All right, that's good to see. And
Yes.
then one last point, Greg. In Long Sutton, which is obviously a bit smaller than you, we found that we couldn't afford the speed indicating devices, so we linked up with 2 other parishes around us.
Yeah.
And we share it. So it sort of rotates through the 3 villages that have bought it. And I just wondered whether you saw no need to share with anybody else. Country London was big enough to maintain their own SIDs.
Well, we decided we were going to buy one, and we decided we would have one and maintain it. We had a long chat with Ascot, actually, who've put one up in Ascot, but they're not moving theirs. We were told quite clearly you have to move it about every 2 weeks for it to be effective, but theirs is sat at the top of the hill for about the last year, but that's their issue, not ours. We felt that our issue was actually moving it, because you have to be Section 8 trained on highways to be allowed to go along there and move it. I mean, currently, if we're doing our footpath work and we're next to the highway, we just sneak along on a Sunday morning with a high-vis jacket on and do it. But this requires somebody who's Section 8 trained. So we've actually gone into partnership with Somerton. So they've also bought a speed indicator device. And the deal we've done with Somerton is we've only bought half of one speed indicator device.
Right.
There will be 2, so they will have half of use of ours, or the other half of ours, and we'll have half, and they will come and put it up and down. But what we haven't done yet is agreed, because we haven't actually physically got them. We know where we want to put it, so we've just got to sort out the rota about which location it goes at each time, and then they will come along and put it up and down. But one of our councillors is going to go and do the Section 8 training, so they're going to be part of the team. So it may be that we do it ourselves through our own trained person, but that person may also help in Somerton.
And you'd have to have a PC so that you can download the data from it.
Yes.
No.
No?
No. Which one have you got?
Well, now you're taxing me now, Christine.
So if you've got a Truvelo one, you can put an app on your phone.
All right. I don't think we've got that.
The one with the smiley face.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, we have got the one with the
You have.
smiley
You've
face.
got the same as us.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so you have an app on your phone, and then your phone speaks to your SID.
Yeah.
You can sit in your car, and it just happily downloads.
Oh,
the data.
I see. So it's like a Bluetooth link. You've got to be next to it.
Yeah, and then there it is. I don't know if so it's, where's the camera?
Yeah.
So we've got 2, and you should be able to see both. No, that's just one. But yeah. You link to it, and
Very
it
good.
just connects.
Brilliant. So as long as we know where it was at what date, we'll have an idea of what the traffic. Because we used to be part of the county scheme where they just came.
Yeah, we were.
And they put one up randomly, and then they stopped it because it was getting too expensive. So, but we didn't want the one they recommended. I wanted the smiley face one, and the one that goes red or green depending on if you're speeding or not.
The happy or angry face.
Yes.
Yeah, because we had to fight SSTC because they said we were doing. They were illegal, the ones that we were using. So I got the Transport and Highways, or whatever they're called, to confirm that they weren't legal. So the one in Ascot, if it's moving around, it's not illegal.
No, but it's not moving. I drive that road quite regularly.
Yeah, there's 2 different types. There's I can't remember. They've got there's 2 types. There's a stationary one, like when you drive through Langport.
Yeah.
Or there's those that move around.
Okay.
One is to educate, and that's the one that moves around.
Yeah.
And the other one is an information one, informing that it's 20 miles an hour
Yeah.
and it flashes 20 regardless of the speed you're doing.
Oh yeah, no, the one in Ashcott shows your speed, but they put up a new pole and it's being solar panel powered. So if they move it, it doesn't appear you can move the solar power bits with it. So
Yeah.
Anyway, that's their, it's their thing. It's their speed indicator device. We'll have one, and we've got some, we've had some issues in the village with accidents and speeding, so we've got a few targets, black spots that we want to be able to target. And what we've been able to do through having our own is have it in more locations than we could under the old county scheme.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah. Malcolm,
Malcolm, you've been trying very hard to catch our attention.
Oh, yes.
That's all right. I'm quite happy to wait. The footpath maps, I was doing some work on our footpath maps, similar to yourself, Greg, permissive route. And I thought it would be useful to have the footpath numbers on the map. And I just wondered what other people, I mean, there's a certain view that it might be a problem because of too much information on the small area map. But I wonder what other people think.
Obviously, if you click on the path, you can get the path number up.
Yeah, I realise that, but
yeah, I think what is incredibly frustrating is the use of the numbers. I mean, I know that they are the technical, so like our main road is the B3151, because we get our report from we've got a group of volunteers who meet once a month who go out and do general repairs, and their report comes back in saying we've erected a new stile on path L711, and everybody looks at themselves completely blankly because nobody's got a clue where L711 is.
Well, that would solve that problem.
It would, but yeah.
But is it going to make too much detail on the map? That's my question, what other people's views were.
I think the virtue of Parish Online is that the level of detail that's put onto the map depends upon which scale you've chosen. So if you put a path number on a map that you can see when you're close up like this, as you scroll out, it'll disappear, so it won't clutter up the screen anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So if we wanted to get that on Somerset County Council map, footpath map, how would we go about it?
Yeah, that's a very interesting point, isn't it?
Do we approach Parish Online to do it?
I will ask the question for you, Malcolm, because it's a great question, but I'll come back to you with the answer on that one.
Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, I think that's exactly that's the right thing, because Parish Online, the information's there in the database, so there just needs to be a little feature, because obviously we could if it was our own layer, we could add it.
Yeah.
The same way as I did with our cycle path layer, I was able to give each segment of our proposed cycle path a number.
Yeah.
And then so here we go in the middle here. There's segment 2.1, and it scales as you zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah, we're doing this because Downside School's a boarding school, and they're worried about somebody using a path which goes through their grounds, which is not a footpath, from a safeguarding point of view.
Yeah.
And so, but unfortunately, the proper path goes through an old coal tip of some ancient, and it's become totally overgrown and very steep, and you can't get through there. So we're looking at a permissive path to take its place.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just looking down through the other layers. I think National Trails access layer. Oh yeah. Yeah, so we've got a bit of open access land in our village.
Yeah.
So the access layer comes up there.
Can I add something here? In the maps that I've been doing, I've had to put numbers in, but I've put them on a separate layer so that you can actually display the map without the numbers if you don't want the clutter. The trouble is that leads to vast numbers of layers, of parish layers. And I was wondering whether there's any way around that. We've got huge numbers of parish layers, and it would be nice to be able to nest them somehow.
Well, the way I obviously in my, if I just look in the let's go to the cycle path layer. So effectively, I know yeah, style in that layer. Obviously, I've got the numbers turned. I've got the number on as a label, so I've selected the label for the number. I suppose I could just literally turn the label off, which is the label segment. Except no, you can't. Once you've got it on, you can't turn it off, can you?
That's the problem.
Oh, I suppose I delete it. There we go. So I just do that, save. But the problem then is, of course, is that when you want to turn it back on, you've got to go back in. So there you go. All the numbers have gone, but I've then got to go back into the layer
And put them back in.
Yeah.
and turn them back on. So back to style, back to segment number. Oh, and it's remembered. It remembered my settings, so that's all right.
But you can also reduce the size of the label, yes?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I was deliberately making the labels quite big at the moment because we wanted an overall map, which is about 1 to 10,000 scale that showed the whole route rather than
right.
all the bits. But yeah.
Graham, I've got a question for you. You mentioned this new allotment layer. Would we expect to see it on the left-hand side of the picture at the moment?
Yeah, national layers.
There we are.
It is there.
Yeah, got it. Okay, thank you very much.
Now, you will find, Chris, that if the National Allotment Association already knows about your allotments, you should be able to see them there, or you will do shortly. They're still, I think, assimilating the database. But
yes,
basically, you have two options here. You can either add yours if you'd like them to be there, and that information will go up, or if your allotment is already registered, either at the departmental level up in Whitehall or at the National Allotment Association, in their database, it will appear for you automatically.
I see. Thank you.
But if you were online, Chris, when we were saying it's only the outline that we're doing at this stage, not the individual allotments.
Indeed. Thank you for that.
No, pleasure.
Graham, are these allotments just the ones that are owned by parishes, or does it include allotments that are privately owned but rented by parishes? Do you know?
I think people are interested in all the ones that exist. So I don't think it matters whether they're privately owned or parish owned.
I assume that when you're adding them, that right at the bottom of the create is allotment site boundaries. That must be that one.
Yeah, and it asks you who owns them. So if you look down the left-hand side, it says land ownership in the column to the left.
Oh yeah, yeah.
These are all drop-down boxes. So if you drop down the land ownership box, Greg.
Yeah, I'll just finish drawing the boundary.
Yeah.
There's nothing like doing it live, is there? Right.
Brilliant.
Land use. Yeah, okay, so it's allotments. Land status is statutory, I assume. This is where we're trying to find out.
Exactly. So
land ownership, town, parish, community council.
And there's private let for the question that somebody else was asking.
Unincorporated, management type, self-managed, lease term is, ours are on 6 months.
So you need to put in, I think, 1 year. I don't think it goes down below 1.
Okay, yeah. Peppercorn annual rent, 40 quid, giving all our secrets away. Fence site, no. Water on site, no. Vehicle access on site, yes, but toilets on site, no.
And if you scroll down a bit further, there's more of them.
Okay, let's keep going. Right. Communal sheds on site, no. CCTV, no. Parking, no. Average number of vacancies, none. Other notes, right. So what do we do up the top then? This is
Well, I'd
our
say Campton Dundon or whatever else you want.
CDPC. Oh, actually, yeah, no, because it's national, isn't it? So I better put Compton Dundon allotment 1, because we've got effectively 2 bits of land. So save that.
Now, just out of interest, I'm going to look at my field now and see if yours has arrived yet. So that's sort of intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm going to go and turn mine off and see if it disappears. Oh, it did. Excellent.
My only concern about putting things on a national register is that the government will probably want to build on it.
Well, they promised, didn't they? Boris promised he wasn't going to build on greenfield sites. I suppose if allotment, sometimes the year it's brown.
Boris is
it's a bit like Trump, isn't it? If Boris says it, it probably means it is going to happen.
Yeah.
If he says it won't, it will.
Well, because I thought the whole part of the planning consultation was that, of course, that they were going to, reduce a lot of the restrictions so that people could, you could get planning without doing any, just build it. That's what happens in Compton Dundon. It mostly is just build it and they will come,
So your allotments have arrived. I'm just looking to see what the label says on them. So I click on them. Allotment site boundaries. It did. It says the Compton Dundon allotment 1. Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
There we go.
So what, you actually didn't type that in, did you? You called it
Yes, I
what?
did. No, I called
did.
it Compton Dundon allotment 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what. Okay. So I need to change mine because I didn't think through as clearly as you've done to actually put our name on it. So I'll do that.
Yeah, because well, it must. Does it know when you click on it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't say where you are. Although, of course, obviously you know where you are because that's where you are.
It's got the centroid, yeah, but it doesn't know what parish you're in, does it?
Correct. No. Well, it does, but it doesn't say so. I mean, obviously the map knows where it is because you can't see it unless you're there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It
So,
depends if they're doing something clever, but I think, yeah, you're right. I think you need to do.
I'm going to go back and rename ours.
Yeah.
As a result of your lessons learned.
Yes. Well, there we are. Learning by doing is always the best way.
There you go. Well, Greg, I found that fascinating and very useful and some major tips that came out that I think we'll adopt ourselves. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think.
very good.
Thanks, guys. I think the thing I'm keen about is that if the district council do follow up with what they started to talk about and they do go onto the system, then I won't have to actually be putting on those planning application layers.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which I think would be very useful.
The impression that sort of with budget considerations and so forth, we're going to have to go into January before we actually see it from SSDC.
Yeah, but that's fine because I think then the only problem is that you get all if we get all the historical stuff as well. I mean, I know already when you try and search, you can't search historically for the whole parish because it just comes back with the return saying you've got too many answers. So you have to narrow it down by guessing the name or location.
Yeah,
but I suppose it might work with the maps because you'd get all the planning history as well on those sites. So we'll see.
We're getting Mendip involved as well. It's a very early stage at the moment, but hopefully we should get the interaction on the map as well.
Excellent. Great. Yeah. So my question for Friday, Graham, is how do I copy my allotment layer to put it into my land ownership layer in the asset register?
I will have the answer for you by Friday, Greg.
All right. I won't be calling in because I'm out on Friday, but yeah, you can email me.
I asked some time ago, I asked Parish Online some time ago about copying and pasting, and they said you couldn't do it. But that was a year or 2 years ago. Whether it's been improved with the new edition, I don't know.
What you need is a duplicate option, isn't it? So you can select an item, say duplicate, and just put it in a new layer.
That's what I said. That was the top of my list of things that I wanted them to do.
Okay, well, if it's not possible, then obviously we've now got the weight of the Parish Online user group behind us to ask this question.
Yes. That enormous institution.
Yeah, heavy bunch we are.
I will find out for you, Greg and Andrew, and come back to you both.
Brilliant.
I'm sort of curious as to why on our allotments the changes I've made to the names come up on one but not on the other. That's sort of intriguing. Never mind. Does anybody have any further questions or points to raise or anything they want to say?
Graham, it's Chris here. But for the first time on my computer, I've seen that we've got public maps available. You mentioned that you had a beta version. Well, now I've got it for the first time today.
Yep.
And I've been trying to play around with it, but I'm getting nowhere. So perhaps on our next Pugs meeting, you could just say a little bit about the public maps feature.
I'd like that.
If you want to stay on for a couple of minutes, I'm very happy to do it now.
Okay, yeah.
That works for you.
Don't mind.
Who else wanted to?
I do as well, Greg.
Okay, well, if you'd like to hang on when everyone else signs off, if they'd like to, then we can go through it together.
Yeah, Brill. Do you want to take back control, Graham?
No, I don't think so. Why don't you drive and I'll talk to you.
Okay. Let me just get my other allotment in.
People are very free to stay on if they wish to, but formally the meeting is now closed.
I'll stay on, please.
Sure, we can restart it again.
Yeah, I'll stay on too.
Okay. So if you'd like to,
I've
Greg.
got to go, so thank you.
I've got to
Christine,
go.
lovely
Thanks
to
very
see you.
much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Natalie.
Thank you very much. It's very helpful.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Very useful.
I've got to walk.
Bye.
Got to get. Oh, here we are.
So, Greg, when you finish that,
that's it. Right, save, done. Right, okay.
Before you go away from here, can you go back to your very first one, that red post that the sign you were asking the people to put up? Just got the road a bit.
Yeah. Here we go. Right, keep going. There we are, new road sign. Yeah.
Right, so just let the screen catch up. If you go along to the other end of that road where they said the lorries couldn't turn.
Yeah.
Right. See the house there called Kerris?
Yeah.
I knew this is absolutely fascinating to you, but that's where I grew up.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, let's go on with the important thing now. Could you switch to administration public map?
Administration, public maps, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to add one. And then the question is, what do you want the base to be for people to see? Is it going to be imagery? Is it going to be the detailed map? Or is it going to be the basic?
Right, well, let's go for some aerial imagery.
Yeah. And then click on next. Yep.
Okay.
Then, exactly, where are you going to get the data from? Which one of these do you want to do?
Okay, well, let's put my cycle path up because I'm keen that people were engaged with that.
You'll notice that this is one of those things where you switch layers from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So on the right-hand side there of the page, you can see that you've selected cycle path.
So can I have more than one layer?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a little lefty pointy arrow that takes it off again. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So thank you for pointing that out. That's good. You're an ideal student.
I used to be a land surveyor many years ago. I'm used to playing with mapping systems, but
Okay.
so I'm keen. Right. So what do we now?
So this is only the public layers. If you wanted to add,
Oh, I see.
them
I could
as well.
add some. Yeah.
Most people don't, but if you
No.
want to,
No, I can't see anything.
keep it simple to start with, and then you can play with it later.
Okay.
So this is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So you can adjust it for scale if you would, because remember what you see now is what's going to come out on the public map.
Oh, I see. So I can.
You want to adjust it to whatever you want.
All right, and the location. So I'm just seeing if I can get everything that I want.
Because you're doing what, cycle paths, is it?
Yeah. So our cycle path runs from here to
But I
here.
don't
So that's about it.
Do you need to zoom in a bit? I don't see it yet.
Is it going to show it?
Should do.
Should it show it here?
If it was a
Well,
layer that's working, there should be a layer there.
I don't think you put the layer on, Greg. I think you took it back.
Hang on, let's go back. So what do I do?
Back to your right rather than cancel.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I got that bit. Right. So cycle path. There it is.
Okay.
Next. Select layers of your maps. I don't need that. Next. It's not showing it, so I wonder if it's going to show it in the.
That's very interesting. Why didn't and would you expect to see it at this scale?
Yes, because I've zoomed right in and it's definitely not there.
Wow.
Because it should show it coming up the road.
Should be there.
Yeah.
Well, try going to the next stage.
Yeah.
Right, go next.
Yeah, we got a fiddle. Right. Let me just get. Yeah, that's okay. Next.
Give it a title. Just call it what.
Cycle path. Yeah.
And save.
Save, right. So then I get a bit of code.
So yes, the code can go directly into your website if you wish. But it's often a lot faster just to give the URL exactly.
So let's go to the URL.
Have the web manager just incorporate that into your website.
Yeah, paste it into there.
You don't need to. You could have gone to preview.
I could have gone to preview.
You could have gone to preview.
Well, there we go. Look, there's my cycle path, and there's the map.
All right.
There it is.
Right.
That worked.
Good.
Graham, can I come in? Stay on that picture we've got at the moment where you've highlighted the URL. Go back one.
Go this back. One. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. The where you've highlighted it in blue.
Yeah.
Right. I've got mine highlighted. What do I need to click on to get to the next stage?
Oh, just click on Control C, Chris, for copy.
Yeah.
Control C, yeah.
And then go into Google and paste it into the URL for Google.
Or as was pointed out, use the preview button on the right.
That's right. Okay.
I know, it just copies it. There you go. You can use that button on the right and it just copies it.
Okay.
I thought it was a preview.
Yeah.
It's up the top. It's by info, Greg, where it says info preview.
Oh, yeah, preview.
Click on that.
There we go. And look, there it is.
It's pretty sweet, actually, isn't it?
Mm.
Yes. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
This PUGS is an amazing institution. I just think it's fantastic.
Mm. Yeah.
Whoever thought of this is a genius.
Right, I'm just entering the postcode to see
what happens. Yeah.
There we go. And it's gone to my house. Excellent.
It's really sweet. Yeah, neat.
Mm.
Mm.
The only problem I was having, I wanted a parish, the outline of the parish. I just couldn't get the scale right. It gave me the options, obviously changing the backgrounds and what have you, but I still couldn't get the parish the right size. Is there any way of altering
with the parish boundaries turned on?
Yes, with the parish boundaries turned on. It was trying. We're going for a neighbouring area designation, and I wanted
you wanted a map of the whole outline.
I wanted a sensible size map to be able to. It's all right. The district council sent one, so I sent theirs back. But
Yeah. So
That's
basically,
fine.
you wanted this sort of shot.
I did.
What I did, I mean, we just went to print and said, okay, I want portrait, and then figured, well, at 19,000, it didn't quite fit. So I think I went up to 25,000 and said, there we go. And look, Compton Dundon very neatly fits on an A4 25,000. So
Well, try
Just-
try
it's
doing
potluck.
that. Try doing that with Stoddart-Stones, and I get
Yeah,
half the channel.
yeah,
Go on.
I'm sure it doesn't work everywhere.
Great drive just to go see. Let's just take a look at the issue. See if we can think of a way around it.
Okay, let's go to Stoddart-Stones, right. Not come out a lot.
Just type it in the address space at the top.
Yeah, we're
yeah.
we're over the left.
Yeah, I know roughly where Stoddart-Stones is, but that's a
We're
bigger
under
one.
we're under Bridgewater.
I can still spell it as well. There we go.
Brilliant.
That
You're at
works.
the castle. Well done.
Yeah. Oh, actually, and then I need to do the bit where you turn off the toggle the view for the.
I want the parish.
How do you? I did do that the other day. You got to toggle the parish layer on and off, haven't you?
To do what?
So because it's faded because I'm not on my parish.
Oh,
So there's
Yeah,
a toggle.
Down the bottom of your screen, Greg, by the green button. The next one.
That's the one. Yeah, I got it right. Oh, I see. Yes, right.
if you do
Okay.
your print idea again.
Yeah, print. So that's gone at 72,000. So we might be able to get 50,000. And then there you go. So that'll give you a nice A4.
It'll go a bit bigger than that, won't it? Can you go
Problem-
down to 35,000, 25,000? That may be too big.
Yeah, the trouble is you can't. They haven't got a custom scale.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
they
you've
have.
got
Sorry, they have got a
25.
custom scale. Right, let's go.
Oh,
Let's
right.
go. Let's go 40,000. Oh, there you
Yeah,
are.
that's a better fit. Very
Yeah,
nearly.
we've lost a little bit. Yeah, I think you're going to have to. Well, we might go at 45.
The good news is that's the Bristol Channel, so it's not.
Oh
Although
yeah, sorry. Yeah, you don't really need all that out there, do you?
it's the mid and low, so that's not a problem.
Okay, well let's go down to 30, and that's just a bit too.
Too far.
So it's silly scales. I mean, I'm as an ex-surveyor, I like scales that are on my scale rule.
It was
So, yeah.
what
I
I
think
did.
50,000.
What I didn't find was the custom button, and that's that. You've just taught me something that I need.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah,
that-
well, that's
looking
the
for.
beauty of these sessions, isn't it? Where we
Yeah.
pick each other's brains. Wonderful.
And then you just hit print, and then it will come up. I know
Well,
I have to type.
I'd gone down the bottom to contrast out the adjoining parishes, of course, using the half.
Oh yeah, then because you can do that on your. There we go. So I've got my X map. There we are. And does that work if you fade them out?
Yes. Well, it certainly worked for me, but it was obviously
Yeah.
just.
I think it did. I think I did a whole parish map when I was doing because I did an A4 sheet like that for the cycle path, and I'm pretty sure I did the same there.
Yeah, they've come up with a common plan to get us a neighbourhood area designation.
Yeah, which is the
Planning
whole
issue.
parish. Yeah. Mm.
Good. Thank you.
Very good.
Well, gentlemen, thank you all very much for your time. It's been a very enjoyable afternoon.
Yeah, that's been very
And I
good.
look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you, Graham.
Thank you for organising this, Graham.
Yeah, thank
Graham,
you.
Graham, when is next time?
Well, there'll be another clinic in October, although I haven't agreed the date yet. Probably around the middle of October. But there's a training session every Friday, if you're interested. I tend to send out the invite on a regular basis, and I'll send out an invite again today, just for everyone to see it if they want it.
Lovely, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Lovely.
Greg, thank you so much for a fascinating guest speaker. I thought it was wonderful.
Thank you, Greg. It's
Yeah,
great.
well done,
Thank
Graham.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg and Graham.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.